The darkness filled the earth as the clouds blotted out the moon and the stars, yet the darkness only made it easier to calm his mind and focus his will. He strode through the darkness, stepping perfectly along the dark forest floor. He turned his head, holding his gaze on the sickly wolves that watched from the mouth of a cave some 100 yards away. They charged the figure, and he raised his hand, dark energy flowing out of his hands, engulfing the starving wolves. The energy dissipated, revealing the sleeping form of the 3 wolves. The hooded figure drew close to them, took off his backpack, and laid the dried meat on the ground next to them, then continued on his way. Night passed slowly for the hooded figure. Hunger only affected him slightly, but eventually it began to wear on his mind. He had walked for over 2 weeks without food when he caught the scent of a campfire. He quickly approached it, almost tasting the scent of venison cooking. As he stepped into the clearing, he noticed the men who sat around the fire. Wielding anything from a long sword to a giant hammer, they stood as they noticed his presence and drew their weapons, grinning at their luck. "So what do we have here? A lone traveler looking for warmth?" "Seems so," said the largest one. Growling, lifting his massive hammer, he stalked towards the hooded figure and raised his hammer towards the man. "Sorry about this, son, but you're gonna die." The figure began to laugh, a deep-throated, humorless laugh, causing the leader's face to glow cherry red. He swung his huge hammer at the figure, striking for his neck. Yet instead of crushing his spine, it flew by his throat as the figure leaned back, instantly kicking his adversary in the chest, causing a sharp crack to emanate from the muscular man. He swayed, then collapsed in a heap, blood spilling from the open chest in his cavity. The figure chuckled and proceeded to tear out the hearts of each of the stunned men before they could even blink. As their bodies fell to the ground, he sat down by the flame and began eating their hearts, one bite at a time, savoring the juicy flavor. "Take heart that I do not prolong your suffering, as is my right as the infinite night." The demon smiled, revealing obsidian-like teeth that came to sharp points. A cracking sound alerted the demon to his enemy's presence. He rolled forward, coming to his feet and surveying the many figures that appeared blurry in the noonday sun. A dozen men stood before him. All wore gray cloaks, wielding swords and staffs. Their bodies were tense, weapons at the ready, their focus perfectly honed at their foe. The demon grinned. "Come on, magicians. I haven't killed your kind in months. How long do you plan on chasing something you could never hope to kill?" A brush of wind hit the back of his neck ever so softly. Yet he moved instantly, turning his body to dodge. A gilded blade stabbed towards him faster than his eye could follow, faster than even he could react, piercing his chest, causing black blood to spill from his trunk. The demon glared in pain and rage at the young girl wielding the blade. She was encased in silver armor, a dark-haired youth with bright blue eyes that were framed by a pale and beautiful face. The girl's eyes burned with rage, and she slung the demon into a nearby tree, the force yanking him off her sword. "You're wrong. I can kill you." The demon sat stunned for a moment, before a grin filled with pure anticipation played along his lips. "I think you can present a challenge at least." Her eyes darkened, and she strode towards him, magicians flanking her side. He simply stood there, the gaping hole in his chest slowly closing, and charged her, both hands becoming obsidian-colored as claws protruded from his fingertips. The girl swung her blade in an overhand slice to cut him in half. He slowed and parried her sword, stabbing at her with sharpened claws straight at her throat. As the claws grew closer to her neck, a look of fear entered her eyes, and she tried to move, but she was too slow. A sword slammed into his arm, barely pushing the claws off her throat. Focus returned to her eyes, and she turned her sword over, slicing at his core. He jumped over their heads, dodging the strike and landing behind their backs, landing in a roll, then popped up instantly, sprinting away from them. Yells of rage rang out behind him, but he did not slow. "I'll kill you later, warrior." As he ran, the voices grew softer. He slowed and entered a cave, slumping against the stone wall. He glanced at his right wrist, where his obsidian skin was dented. So close to the kill. He stared at the noonday sun, considering the sheer insanity of his encounter.